Please come in.
May I come in, sir?
Come.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
Just take a seat.
Thank you, sir.
Suryabhan, please introduce yourself to the board.
Sir, my name is Suryabhan and I originally come from Jaunpur, Uttar Pradesh. I did my graduation and post-graduation in mechanical engineering from IIT BHU Varanasi 2018, and thereafter I joined civil services, Indian Revenue Services, Customs and Indirect Taxes. I belong to the batch of 2021, so presently I am undergoing probation as of now at Nasim Faridabad, and I like to explore multiple sports and I have excelled in the sports of chess.
Okay. Suryabhan, tell me, you are in the customs. So there was a report published recently by Oxfam at Davos at the summit, economic summit, and they alleged that in India the poorest of the poor are spending a very large part of their annual income on GST on the food items and the utility items which they buy every day. We are talking about the poorest of the poor. So that was the allegation. Do you think it's correct?
Sir, largely the food items are under the slab of GST 5% or there is no GST at all. So the allegations I believe the allegations are not based on the requirements of what poor people are consuming. The government of India has rationalized the GST in a way that is progressive in a manner. That is the regressive nature of taxation is not felt on the poorest of the poor in the country, sir.
Okay, and most of the items are free under the PDF to the poorest of the poor.
Right, sir. Yes.
And they won't be buying luxury items which have 28% GST.
Yes, sir, largely. Also, the fact that Government of India has made the National Food Security Scheme accessible to almost 80 crores of the Indian, it simply reflects the efforts made by the Government of India to reduce the food inflation in India.
Okay, what is the food security scheme, National Food Security Scheme, which you just spoke about?
So, one is the Public Distribution Scheme, PDS system. Second is the buffer stocking scheme, wherein in the supply crunches, the government itself releases through open sale schemes.
What are the details? Could you tell me?
So, if I may ask, are you asking about the PDS or buffer stocks?
Both the things.
Regards to buffer stocks, the government of India maintains buffer stocks of wheat, rice, and some pulses. The buffer stock norms says that there should be around 28 to 30 million tons of rice and around 18 to 20 million tons of wheat, which is in total 50 million tons of rice and wheat. However, the norms have been the stocking as of now is around 2 to 3 times of the entire stock that should be kept. Regarding PDS, around 67% of the population are being covered under the scheme, the PDS scheme.
Yeah, what is it called? The PDS scheme is called, it's given a name, One Nation, One Ration scheme. What are the different types of ration cards you have in that scheme?
Sir, I'm not aware.
You're not aware. Okay, now you belong to UP. So what do you think about the bulldozer culture there? If you were the SDM, or not the SDM, I'd say you were the ASP. As an IPS officer, if you're posted as an ASP there, then what would you do if the top brass tells you to demolish somebody's house using a bulldozer?
So I would firstly request the person send a show cause notice and a warrant that so and so has been a case against you, and we'll be taking actions very swiftly if there is no surrender or there is no being compliance with the government of India, the laws and the rules being put in place. Secondly, so if the rules and regulations are not being followed and the top brass is already being given the order to carry on, so I will have to execute the orders. But at the same time, I will ensure that not much of the destruction has been taken place.
So who are you to decide, to follow an illegal order when the notice has not been given, compliance has not been done of the laws? Then how can you, execute an order which is totally illegal? You can't decide that I'll demolish half the house or I'll demolish only its boundary wall.
Right, sir.
You cannot go halfway. Either you do it or you don't, and you can't do anything illegal as a government servant. Right. Who are you responsible to? The politician or the constitution?
So I am responsible to both politicians, the political executives, the people at large, the constitution, the law, the rules. I am
How
responsible.
are you responsible to the politician? Just tell me in detail. Explain.
So the civil services are a branch of permanent executive, and there is a branch of political executive such as the ministries. And if an order is being issued by some of the ministries which are also being constitutionally at the top brass of top levels.
The order is issued by the ministry after careful examination of all the laws and legalities, and is issued by the government officer under a government of India order. The ministry doesn't phone you and tell you to demolish something.
Right, sir.
So, how are you responsible to a political executive? Just tell me.
So I am not clearly aware of it. I thought on the same lines of being responsible to the ministry on some way. I will read more on that, sir.
Okay. So,
Suryavan, do you understand anti-dumping duty?
Sir,
What is it
so when a
and
nation,
why it is imposed?
when a nation like China dumps goods at a lower market price, what is being prevailing in its own country, in a nation like India, then the domestic manufacturers, the import, are at loss, and the domestic industry gets hurt. Therefore, we impose the anti-dumping duty by raising the customs duty, the basic customs duty, and additional dumping duty on it, so that the price of the goods come at a par with the prices prevailing in the original market, that is in China.
Isn't it against the principles of WTO, anti-dumping duty?
So WTO itself has given a waiver for this anti-dumping duty on the ground that certain countries use such a mechanism to have a gain in the import-export markets. Also, the WTO itself says that these principles are to be used at certain times when it is required in case of emergency, or when the case is being proven against the original nation from the exporting nation that the dumping has been occurring. And dumping to occur, the industries must prove that they are being hurted, and secondly, the market, the value that is being there in the China has to be proven that it is being at lesser than the export prices.
Okay. Your parents are in business.
Sir.
What type of business?
So my father was used to practice yoga. He used to teach in a school yoga and primarily Hindi as well. And my mother used to be a grocery shop. I mean, we had a grocery shop, but no, my parents are no more working as of now from this year.
Okay. Is yoga a soft power that we can use?
Absolutely, sir. India has already utilized it by declaring yoga as a form of meditation practice, a way of uniting body, mind, and spiritual powers. Also, the India has bargained at United Nations to declare 21st July as International Yoga Day. 21st June, sorry.
Okay. And you have written classical chess. What do you mean by classical chess?
So, classical chess is a chess format wherein both the players are being allocated sufficient enough time to think on moves, unlike blitz or bullet or rapid games. To differentiate, I would like to compare with cricket. The way the skills of a player, batsman, and both bowlers are being tested in test match cricket, it is similar like in chess. We are being testing, the skills is being tested for a long time formats.
Okay. How many GMs India has produced so far?
So as per the very recent updates, there are 81 grandmasters. The Kaushik has been the recent 81st grandmaster from the state of West Bengal.
And your second preference is Indian Police Service.
Sure.
Yeah. What you have to say about the fake encounters? What is your view?
So I believe we must refrain from any extrajudicial killings and having any fake encounter unless it is a matter of national security or there is a threat to a national security in the region. So largely we should be following rules, regulations and the laws that are being put in place in order to avoid the violation of the basic principles of the constitution, such as basic principles of natural justice.
Have you read about the fake encounters in Hyderabad? About some rape accused.
So,
They are shot in cold blood. And it was uploaded by the public also.
so,
Do you approve such?
so personally, my view is we should not be approving such extrajudicial killings. We must bring these criminals to the court, and we must ensure that through legal mechanism the justice is being served. And Gandhiji and many of the philosophers have said that an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind, and therefore we must move towards a justice which is more reformative and not more retributive, or in a way wherein we to control our emotions we take up the matter.
Okay, you did an integrated course, BTech, MTech from BHU, IIT BHU. Yeah, this Banaras Hindu University
Sir.
or Aligarh Muslim University, aren't they anathema in a secular state like India?
So, largely the Banaras Hindu University was formed to promote the study of religious scriptures itself in 1960. It's one of the objective itself says so and so, to study the religious scripts, and it does not specifically mentions as a Hindu. So in a way it also, sir, it does not discriminates in terms of appointments to the students or be it teachers on the grounds of religion. So Hindu is just a ceremonial in a way that it has been going on for centuries. Likewise is the case for Aligarh Muslim University as well, sir.
Okay, and we have given only two choices,
Sir.
IAS and IPS. Yeah,
Sir.
you don't like foreign service?
Sir, last 3 attempts I have been filling Indian Foreign Services. However, sir, I feel now my parents have a little ill, and they want quietly me to be in India as well. And even I feel that I should be with my parents in times when they are not in a right position, sir. So I feel that this year I will be filling only 2 choices.
Okay, and do you know Banaras is a twin city with some city in Japan?
Yes, sir.
Which city in Japan?
It is Kyoto, sir. Kyoto.
And what are the benefits of such twinning?
Firstly, the attraction of investments. For instance, recently the government of Japan in 2020 built a convention center in Banaras itself, which is very similar to the one in Kyoto. So, and that has been built to attract a lot of business summits, conferences, etc. Second is with this, the international relation between the two countries get synchronized. For instance, the technologies in Kyoto to control the earthquake, for the water management, the waste management, are also being thought to be brought up in Varanasi to make it a better smart city.
Okay.
Just taking from here, you would be amused to know that Delhi has a twinning arrangement with Ulaanbaatar, the capital of Mongolia, signed sometime in 2001. So give me a couple of points of similarity, and because I don't see the logic. So how would you convince me that there is a logic?
So one way to see it could be that both are the capital cities, and both are most of the densiest places in both the countries, be it Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia or be it Delhi in India. So one thing we both can collaborate in terms of crowd management, in terms of providing basic amenities to the people that has been.
Are you sure of the population density of Ulaanbaatar, or are you just guessing?
So I believe that most of the development in a state happens around the capitals, and this has been case for most of the
That's
countries.
a very general statement.
So I would be I am a general in the sense.
I appreciate. Otherwise, what would you think is the difference between these two places?
So if you could give me, if I can take some seconds to
Please
think.
do.
Thank you. So one would be the historical importance of both the places. The Mongol Empire had ruled in Ulaanbaatar, in the Mongolia region, from there into China to and the Mughals have ruled in the Delhi, around the Delhi region. That could be one way. Second would be, sir, both the region, most of the regions of Mongolia are under heat stress as of now, and so is the case with Delhi. So in terms of climate cooperation, we can engage to some extent, sir.
Are you sure that the Mongols are the same as Mughals?
I am not sure, sir, but I would like to make some comments regarding what I know.
Okay.
So the Mughals are a lineage of a Timurid dynasty, so which were already related to Mongols in some way. This is what I know, sir.
Okay, figure it out. You have thermal or fluid engineering as your specialization, isn't it?
Sir.
I asked specifically with respect to that. What happens at the absolute zero temperature? How can you measure absolute zero, and why can't you measure absolute zero?
So at absolute zero, the entropy becomes zero. And if an entropy is zero, it means the randomness is zero. There is no sensation, no vibration, no way to have any sensitivity differences to gauge anything. And therefore, it is very difficult to measure anything at absolute zero or near absolute zero, sir.
Is it very difficult or is it impossible?
So
it is impossible.
Sir.
It is impossible. It's only a theoretical abstract. Okay.
Right.
One more little thing. Since you have joined this, we are a probationer of that thing. What is this SVB? We understand why it happened. Assume I know. Have we not learnt any lesson from the 2008-2009 crisis? Why is it that the Credit Suisse is now, Washington Mutual is, they're all getting stressed? Why is it that the banking system could not figure it out or predict it?
So I see primarily the cause of this crisis that is being occurring is most of their portfolios are being in the case of SVB, 93% of their investments were being more than 90% of the investment were in particular US treasuries, and because of US federal rate hikes, they could not understand the impact in the post-COVID era, what is about to happen.
Let me interrupt you. Sorry.
Sir.
I'm not asking you how it happened.
Sir.
I'm asking whether all these geniuses sitting in US or in Switzerland or in European banking systems could not have predicted the mess which would result. I'm sure there are any number of people who will tell you that if you increase the Fed rates by so much and the interest rates of startups being so much, suddenly you increase the rates by more than 3.5–4%, and this sort of mess would happen. So why were they unable to predict it or see the consequences in time?
So one way to look at it is we can never predict human behavior, and in terms of the present crisis, the deposits were being withdrawn by the public on just basis of certain comments by the certain giants and industries, and therefore, sir, it was largely a human behavior of withdrawal of cash that led to this crisis, sir.
Have you heard of the Yes Bank thing which happened sometime 2008-9? Similar thing. At one point of time, ICICI Bank also went through that. So what is it called? A bank run.
Bank run, right.
It happens when there is no reason, rational reason for having this. I am talking of pure financial terms. In any case, please read up about it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Suryabhan. So do you think, just taking forward from there, do you think it was an audit failure? This this regarding prediction of something going wrong with these banks?
Yes, ma'am. I would. The risk management approach has not been taken care in terms in the case of the SVB failure, and this is the case wherein the banks have not been following a much safer capital to risk weighted assets ratio norms that is being put in place, Basel III norms. So therefore, we see a less of Indian banks being suffering as compared to the US banks that are being now. Also, ma'am, to that, I would like to add that in the Donald Trump regime, the banks with the size of deposits is less than $250 billion were being exempted from having much safer norms of keeping capital in reserves.
Okay, all right, okay. But just read up on it because they said it was a failure waiting to happen. All right, okay. Regarding Credit Suisse, yeah, what exactly happened there? How were these failures different? SVB, Signature, they were all different in some way or the other.
Sorry, ma'am, I have not taken a follow-up on Credit
Okay,
Suisse.
never mind. Okay, let's move on. Okay, what do you understand by a red corner notice?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
You're applying for the police and it's been in the news lately. It's been withdrawn against an Indian, Mehul Choksi. Okay.
We'll read about
By
it.
Interpol, it's all right. Okay. And what's round tripping? Have you heard about round tripping?
Ma'am, round tripping is a term generally used when the investments are being moved from one destination to another destination and so on to multiple locations. For instance, the investments made in India are being largely alleged as being coming through round tripping through Cayman Islands, the Mauritius, the Singapore.
So it's a form of. What do we have an act for it? Do we have legislated in India?
Ma'am, I don't think so there is any legislation, but we have an international arrangement such as
Okay, which would be the agency in India who would be dealing with a case like that? Try to take an informed guess, okay?
ma'am,
It's an economic offense, isn't
yes.
it?
From economic offense, I can take the clue that there is an act called as Fugitive Economic Offenders Act. If
Okay, one is what about PMLA? You've heard of PMLA?
Yes, ma'am.
Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And this is also a form of money laundering. No?
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
bringing it back, the same money is being brought back and it's all laundered, black से white कर देते हैं उसको इस तरह से, ठीक है ना?
adding to that, ma'am, the agency that is responsible is CBIC. Recently, it has been empowered to look into these matters of money laundering.
Even ED,
Info.
ED, you know ED,
Yes.
no? Money laundering, basically they preserve, okay? But in some ways, the revenue agencies also under, the two sister agencies, the income tax and customs,
DRI.
they can also in some way or the other, deal with it. At least profit, can be taxed and those kind of things. Okay. All right, let's move on to something totally different now. 22nd March recently was is known for something. Are you aware as to what it is?
United Nations Water Day.
Yeah, World Water Day. Very good. So, what is the theme of the World Water Day?
Sorry.
What kind of water? I mean, what is the need for having a World Water Day? Come on, take a call. You're appearing for this.
Ma'am, the need is we must have an awareness regarding the sustainable development goals regarding water. The saving every drop of water, having an installed mechanism of recycling grey water, using also using the pure water for drinking, cooking purposes, and at the same time having a safe and hygienic sanitation.
What is our current scheme, that the government of India has regarding water?
Ma'am, one is the Jal Jeevan Mission.
Yeah, very nice. And okay, Jal Jeevan Mission ka theme kya hai? What is the theme?
That every rural household must have a tap to have a supply of 55 liters of drinking water supply every day.
And what's the slogan?
Har ghar har jal.
Har ghar nal se jal. Tap water connection, you just said. All right. Okay, so this World Water Day, is it about fresh water or is it about sea water? What kind of water? Or there's no distinction?
Ma'am, I'm not clear about
Okay, it's about fresh water resources. Okay, it's about fresh water resources. After all, if you need to drink water, you can't drink saline water. No? You need fresh water for that. All right. What's grey water management? You just spoke about it.
Ma'am, the water that is being released from the washrooms, bathroom are known as grey water. They are polluted in a way. So the grey water management is a technique wherein we use treatment plants or some certain scientific techniques such as bioremediation as well to purify the water so that it becomes usable for other non-drinking purposes. And
Okay. Okay, thanks, sir. And just read up a little more on, because it's an important area. All right.
I will, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Suryabhan, you have been a student of science and technology,
Sir.
correct? What is the color of the hydrogen gas?
So these are colorless gases, sir.
Okay, then what is black hydrogen, what is blue hydrogen?
So black hydrogen is being produced from the coal power plants. The energy that is being extracted from the coal power plants is being used to manufacture the hydrogen, and that is called as black hydrogen, sir.
Coal power plants are manufacturing hydrogen, how?
So the thermal electricity that is being produced from these plants are being used on the electrolyzers that are being used to manufacture the hydrogen. If the renewable sources of energy is being used, we call it as a green energy, hydrogen as the
I didn't ask for the green hydrogen, I saw black and blue hydrogen.
And sir, regarding the blue, I am not very clear, but I largely feel it is about when CCU's technology, the carbon capture utilization storage technologies are being used in thermal power plant, and the electricity so generated is being used to produce the hydrogen. It is called as blue hydrogen.
Okay, you spoke about the green hydrogen. What is green hydrogen mission and when was it launched in India?
I'm so sorry, sir, I could not hear it clearly.
What is green hydrogen mission and when was it launched in India?
So green hydrogen mission is a 19,000 crore mission wherein rupees are being allocated to the production of green hydrogen, and under that a green hydrogen policy is being announced. Government of India has also come up with incentives within that policy itself. So when it was announced, I am not clear of the exact month and date, sir.
Okay. You appeared in maths as a paper, correct? Why is factorial 0 equal to 1?
So I will take few seconds to think on it, sir.
Please do.
So the combinatorial mathematics says that I will try to go with basics.
Okay.
The combinatorial mathematics says that if there are possibility of picking 0 materials out of 5 materials, the only possibility is 1 to not pick it up. And therefore, the entire combinatorial mathematics is based on the principles of factorials. Though the formula of factorial says that if we are asking for n factorial, it should go from n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 till 1. However, the entire principles of mathematics gets failed if we try to equate 0 factorial 0, and therefore this formula has not been accepted as the best formula. So therefore, sir, with this example, if I have to choose 0 materials out of 5, the answer is 1. There is no way to pick up. There is only one way to not pick it up. And therefore, the mathematicians have come to a conclusion that 0 factorial should be 1. Otherwise, the equations of mathematics do not hold well.
Is there any physical significance of permutation?
So I could not understand the term physical significance, sir. Sorry.
Say just like when we talk about the modulus. Modulus is the distance of a particular point in the number plane from the origin. Correct? That is the physical explanation of modulus. Correct? That's why mod of minus 3 becomes 3. So permutation is a physical explanation of the factorial.
Yes.
the way you can pick up, arrange zero elements is only one way.
Yes.
Okay. What is guilt by association doctrine in law?
Sorry, sir.
Today, the front page of the newspaper.
Sir, I should have read it. I had just glanced through it, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Suryabhan, your formal interview is over now. What do you think? How do you think you've done today?
Sir, I should have revised a lot of concepts, and I should have thoroughly read the newspapers. And secondly, I should have read about my field of thermal energy regarding the green hydrogen question. I think, sir, in terms of knowledge, I was a little bit lacking, but I think I will. I have sufficient time enough to improve myself, sir.
When is your interview scheduled?
The interview dates are not yet out.
Not yet come. You've got 2 months at least. 1.5 months.
1.5.
1.5 months. How many marks did you get in your last interview?
So I scored 168, sir.
168 is very good. I mean, you are very articulate. I think what has happened is you have given up on reading and preparing for it, or even thinking about the general study stuff and current affairs stuff, or even your subject also.
Yes, sir.
Newspaper nahi pad rahe.
Newspaper nahi पढ़ रहे.
Ma'am,
And not going deep into it also.
yes, sir, this is the problem, and I don't know why this tendency has developed that the newspapers become more relevant only when it's just 1 month for interview. Because I read newspaper today, I might forget the news that has been there today. So either I need to note it down and keep on revising the same thing.
Yeah, you should do that. You should build up on the
Why
news.
one sheet for
It's
everything?
a continuous process. But there are 2 things I'd like to tell you. One is that you have a tendency to add on a lot more stuff in your answer than is asked for.
Right.
For example, I asked you about you added the national food program in my question, and then you didn't know about the ration cards, despite the fact that your parents had a ration shop. You said ration shop or something like that.
Grocery shop, sir.
Grocery shop. Okay,
Yes.
okay. So, but if you add on something, then you must know about it. You did that in many other places, like when she was asking you, ma'am was asking you questions about, the money laundering. Then you added that CBIC is the agency, which is not.
No,
It is the
CBIC, nahi, CBI you said, no?
CBIC.
CBIC
You
said,
said CBIC.
actually it is the enforcement directorate.
It is enforcement directorate.
Oh,
Then
I heard CBI.
Then you added on something about Donald Trump in the banks. Unnecessary things which can lead to questions about which you may not know the answer again. So these things you should avoid. You should remain short and crisp in your answers. Say anything only about what has been asked. Like sir has asked you about blue and black hydrogen, you started talking about green hydrogen, and similarly at other places also. And the second thing I would like to point out is that your concepts about that bulldozer question and the fake encounter question, you said you were responsible to politicians, and if they push you will do certain things even if they are illegal, or like fake encounters can be done whenever there is a national security issue. They are all incorrect. These are things which can be done under the table after you join service. But when you are trying to join a service, you have to be politically correct. You have to give only politically correct answers. You have to follow the constitution and the law. You cannot do anything illegal. You cannot obey illegal orders. If somebody gives you an illegal order, you have to ask for it in writing, and you can reply in writing that this is illegal, giving justification. And not do that thing.
bulldozer karti hai.
And police is not supposed to bulldoze anything. You are a police. I asked you.
It was a trick question.
You were supposed to be an ASP. Police doesn't do bulldozing. It is the administration which does it, or the municipal corporation. Okay. So politically correct answers are the done thing. You cannot give practical or answers which you think in common sense में ये ऐसे करते हैं, पुलिस वाले ऐसे करते हैं, वो चीज़ नहीं चलती है. You can't justify illegal action. These are the 2 things I wanted to say.
Okay. See, many of us actually join one service and then aim for a higher service and get in. Yeah. So you are in the same stage. You are already in customs. You are aiming at IAS or IPS. Yeah. this should add to your confidence. Yeah, compared to your last interview when you are jobless, and now it should add to your confidence, but not complacency. Yeah, so you should, if you are interested, then you should take it very seriously. So you should improve in this interview by cutting down your nervousness. There is no need for. So that is the point I wanted to highlight.
Just one little thing. Again, what Sir said, that things which you need not say. When I'm talking about Mongolia, you should immediately understand that there is nothing similar between New Delhi and Ulaanbaatar. You're saying it is similar population. Please check on it. Mongolia is a sparsely population country. What to talk of? So you are giving. You'd be better off saying, sorry, I do not know. I do not know. And
okay, yeah.
perfectly acceptable. But you have put yourself in severe traps. Then you yourself brought about that Mongol thing, which is a huge trap. Okay, so Mughals have nothing to do with Mongols. And you'll figure it out when you read more. So the question is not important. The point is that you are giving away too many soft spots in your belly for somebody to pounce on. Okay, so keep your answers crisp. And I'll again say, don't sit so stiffly. Be a little more natural. You can move your hands. You can lift your hands, you can move them to express yourself. You're fairly articulate. You should build on your strength. Okay?
Why, bus, be crisp and just to the point, aap dijiye. Don't offer more than what is asked. That's really appreciated. Or articulate aap ho, and then more than that, you're already an officer. So just नासन में बैठ के अपना अखबार पढ़ डालो, इतना तो टाइम रेवेन्यू सर्विसेज एकेडमीज में मिल जाता है, जो कि पुलिस में तो बिल्कुल ही नहीं मिलता. सो जस्ट टेक दैट टाइम. रेड कौन है सब, मेहुल चोकसी का अभी विड्रॉ किया है. इट्स जस्ट बीन इन द न्यूज. सो वाटर डे, नेचुरली अगर इंटरनेशनल वर्ल्ड वाटर डे है, अच्छा ना 1 महीने 1.5 महीने बाद वाटर डे में नॉट बी देयर, राइट, बट वाटर विल स्टिल रिमेन एन इम्पॉर्टेंट इशू. सो टेक अ शीट, वाटर लिखो और उसके ऊपर जो कुछ है वाटर के बारे में, हाँ, जल जीवन मिशन एंड एवरीथिंग, वो कर लो. फिर ऑन अनदर टॉपिक टेक अनदर थिंग, द इंटरपोल, रेड कॉर्नर, बैंक्स, हाँ, और जो कुछ आता जाता है वो उस सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर आप लिखते जाओ, आप कर जाओगे. you're otherwise a smart guy. You're good personality you have. Okay, all the best.
I will read now.
Suryaban, I have a lot many things to say. When you came in and you started, I was very impressed. But when you went on, you started disappointing at least me.
Started off well.
See, this is a personality test. It's not a test on your knowledge. If you do not know, you are free to say you don't know. The interview board will find some other question to make you comfortable, find answer to it. What is not acceptable that you don't know things and you start bulldozing something else, give wrong answers, like Mongol being one of the answers. Don't give incorrect answer. If you don't know, please say I don't know. And if the board encourages you to take a guess, please take a guess. That's the right way of doing it. So I'll start with the questions that I asked. Black hydrogen, you give a correct answer. The hydrogen which is produced by using coal as a source of energy is black hydrogen. And hydrogen is produced by electrolysis of water. Okay? Blue hydrogen is produced where the natural gas is produced. Natural gas is used. Because thermal engineering was subject, so I chose these two things. Read up on the National Green Hydrogen Mission. What are the targets when it was launched? What is the thing? Because that's a big thing that we're looking. And hydrogen mission is important because that's a way of energy storage. India has a nationally deterministic target that by 2030, 50% of our energy will come from non-carbon sources. Correct? That's one. Coming to factorial 0, so now factorial stands for the permutation. Correct?
Right.
What is factorial P? So this is minimum people would like to know. We expect it from the school children. You are writing CBSE exemption with mathematics as a paper. So there will be question on mathematics, there will be question on thermal engineering, there will be question on chess. Like I could have asked, when is the World Chess Championship scheduled in 2023? Do you know that?
I'm not aware of the date, sir.
Month?
It usually happens in November, sir.
No, it's in April. Kazakhstan. So you are written this as a hobby. People will be asking. So please read your own CV and prepare accordingly. Okay. Now coming to this guilt by association doctrine. Supreme Court has overturned a set of earlier judgment of 2011 by saying that if you are a member, a mere member of a banned organization, you are equally guilty. You might have done nothing, but one criminal organization, you are a part of it. The organization is banned, is a terrorist organization. You are equally guilty of any action they have done because you are associated with them. So they have changed the law yesterday. So today it's in the front page of many newspapers. So that you must be reading.
I will read about it.
Some other feedback about the questions other colleagues asked me. One is bulldozing kind of thing. Saraj very clearly said, police don't bulldoze. Police only give protection to the agencies who are enforcing the law. That is the only job of the police. The law enforcing agencies enforcing law. Nobody should stop them from enforcing the law. Police is meant for only that. Okay? Now there was a question initially that if you are the SDM, what you will do if the politician calls you, the minister calls you? Yes, SDM has a role. You have written IAS as an option. In most of the states, there is a Public Premises Act. Any public premises which has been encroached upon, normally the powers are vested in most of the states, at least in Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, is the SDM decides whether that public premises is encroached upon. He issues a notice, hears a summary proceedings, then gives an order for removal of encroachment. So a politician will be very much within his powers to call the SDM and say, these are the complaints we have received, a public premises has been encroached upon, do something about it. So you are not supposed to take a bulldozer. So you have to start a proceeding based on information obtained, call the complainant, get the complaint in writing, start a proceeding under the Public Premises Act and take act on the law. You are not supposed to obey a politician. Politician has a different role under the Constitution, you have a role under the Constitution. The political executive is okay so long as that's a lawful order. And that lawful order, if need be, you are under the liberty to ask it in writing. You are not under the liberty, Supreme Courts have told it again and again, your unlawful order you need not obey because your oath of alliance is to the Constitution of India. See, when you are answering, there has to be crisp and to the point answer. The moment this kind of answer comes, many of the interview bombers will take a very serious note of it and they will gauge your personality accordingly. There was a question about anti-dumping duty. Anti-dumping duty is originated from a WTO agreement on anti-dumping and countervailance. Read up about WTO agreements. Don't say that WTO has nothing to do with it. If you don't know, please say I don't know. It comes from a WTO agreement. And if you have dumped the anti-dumping duty, of course, within our own country, the appellate mechanism, the offense, the party aggrieved can take you to WTO on that. That is the redressal mechanism. So you have to look into that of it. And what else? What are they? Next. See, it is widely believed next World War is going to be on water. So Water Day has a lot of significance. And the way the global warming is taking up, little fresh water that we're having, ice sheets are melting, polar cap, things are it. The water is becoming an issue. Indus Water Treaty, India has given a notice to Pakistan. There are many things happening. There is going to be a lot of debates on the water. Do read up on that. So I won't be taking more time on this. Only I'll conclude by saying that if you're going to improve the mark you got last time, you have to really work a lot. Because already sir said the mark you got is quite high. And if you want to impress the interview board, you have to read up, you have to speak to the point, and you can't afford to give answers which are not correct. Thank you.
All the best.
और ये बैंक इशू भी ओवरनाइट नहीं चला जाएगा. ये you can be asked any time. It's a very
All the
important
best.
thing. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
All the best to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
कितना